Los Angeles, California, the city where dreams are made. The magical city where stars are brought to life, famous for its blockbuster Hollywood movies that show up on the big screen. You may also think of the family-friendly attractions such as Disneyland, Universal Studios, and even the famous Santa Monica Pier. In Los Angeles, though, there's a lot more than you think. There is underlying hate, violence, and even harsh discrimination. Diving in deeper and getting more specific on the type of discrimination that we face, racism, but in language and literacy, in the city of Los Angeles. Using research from my stakeholders, Ramon Martinez, UCLA EAOP program, Cal State LA EAOP program, CASA of Los Angeles, and BLM LA, who all fight the discrimination of language and literacy. I will cover how it affects so many different individuals from different backgrounds, ethnicities, and races, as well as what we can do as a unity to combat this excruciating ongoing problem that we face as a society of racism in language and literacy in Los Angeles, California. Police schematic prehistory at the dusk of colonialism, internationalism, racism, and science in Henry Burrell and Jan Smuts by Stefanos Geroulanos applies to my topic, fault line, and stakeholder because BLM-LA fights to combat racism that colored people face in Los Angeles, California. This ties to Geroulanos' piece because his writing explains how discrimination of colored people originated in the form of rock art as well as ancient paintings. In these paintings, Europeans were categorized as quote-unquote superior to the colored people during this time. And that is why Stefanos Geroulanos' piece of writing connects to my topic of racism in language and literacy in Los Angeles, California. Now, Ryoko Kubota, a researcher, educator, and author from Nagano, Japan, wrote in one of her many articles titled, A Critical Examination of Common Beliefs About Language Teaching, From Research Insights to Professional Engagement. She states how you can learn and teach language, but you can't learn and teach culture as well as heritage. This statement specifically relates to BLM-LA because culture is given at birth. When an individual is born, it comes natural, and that is one of the messages about language that BLM-LA is trying to put out there for their supporters and their followers. Next, another very helpful source by an individual no other than Steve Lamos, titled Language, Literacy, and the Institutional Dynamics of Racism, late 1960s writing instruction for quote-unquote high-risk African-American undergraduate students at one predominantly white university. This article makes it clear how predominantly white universities try to keep African Americans out of their schools, as well as making it more difficult for them to admit to their schools by making these students join writing groups that separated them from others, something like modern-day segregation. This relates to BLM-LA because it is an article on a form of injustice towards African Americans, and this is exactly what this organization fights against, the unjust treatment of African Americans, more specifically in the spectacular city of Los Angeles, California. Another article used for my research on racism in language and literacy in Los Angeles is, Are you going to show this to white people? Chicana, Chicano, and Latina, Latino students counter narratives on race, place, and representation by Ramon Martinez. This piece of writing shows us, the audience, an insight on racist categorization and discrimination Latino children face in LA middle schools, such as being called ghetto and gang members, just because of where they are from. This article relates to the UCLA EAOP program because this organization works with students to help them become competitively eligible applicants for college, essentially helping them get into college if they want to pursue and chase a higher education for themselves, leading students past racial barriers and help them advance academically. Now, CASA of Los Angeles, also known as CASA LA, is an organization who is against racism in language and literacy. They advocate for families in Los Angeles who face problems with the juvenile justice system in Los Angeles by helping families financially, mentally, as well as legally. They also have volunteers who help children feel like they have someone to talk to, which is essentially like a therapy service they offer to these families. These services this organization offers and delivers helps a lot of Latino families in these communities based off of the stereotypes that they may face or that they face day in and day out. Overall, they are a great pillar in the fight against racism in language and literacy in Los Angeles. Moving forward, the Educational Opportunity Program of Cal State Los Angeles, also known as Cal State EOP Program, helps combat racism in language and literacy in Los Angeles because they help Cal State LA receive equal opportunity in education and employment without unlawful discrimination or preferential treatment based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, or nationality, creating equality amongst all students, as well as creating a diverse community which is free of judgment and hate towards one another, making unity with each other, which is what we are fighting for, equality in all aspects of life, which is why Cal State EOP program is against racism in language and literacy in Los Angeles, California. Another special contributor for the combat against discrimination on people's language and literacy is none other than the University of California, Los Angeles Educational Opportunity Program, also known as UCLA's EAOP program, who fight against racism and literacy against underprivileged students in Los Angeles by providing financial aid, counseling, as well as academic support. They also prepare them for college and make them an eligible contender for admissions. This program and organization helps and assists roughly 19,000 students each year with their education, ranging from middle schools, high schools, and even universities. It is safe to say UCLA's EAOP program is a main contender in the fight against racism in language and literacy. Last, but certainly not least, a very important stakeholder for my research on racism in language and literacy in the city of Los Angeles is Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, also known as BLM LA. This organization's perception on racism in language and literacy is negative. They want to get rid of it. They fight to get rid of it by rebelling, showing why an issue is not right, and fighting for justice. This could be by protesting the streets of Los Angeles, setting up petitions online, or directly trying to speak with the law enforcement. All in all, Black Lives Matter Los Angeles fights for equality and justice for all, which is why they are a key ally in the fight against racism in language and literacy in the city of Los Angeles, California. Organizations like EAOP UCLA, EOP Cal State Los Angeles, CASA of Los Angeles, and Black Lives Matter Los Angeles all help with my research on rebelling against racism in language and literacy in the city of Los Angeles because all of these stakeholders share the same idea, getting rid of this injustice, this ongoing problem, which is racism in language and literacy. Their help can vary from assisting students with furthering their education, helping families who face problems with the juvenile justice system, and even individuals who face racism because of the color of their skin. These aren't the only ways they help Los Angeles communities out, though. These small acts create change and prosperity. Actions like these help motivate others do the same and fight our problem. Fight the discrimination on people's language and literacy to help create a peaceful community with equality and love. Together, racism in language and literacy in Los Angeles, California will be gone for good.